here again for another movie review. This is a very late review. I am reviewing the new film Fright Night, which came out I think around last week or so. I didn't get a chance to see it till 2 days ago, and I wasn't able to make my review till today. So I just wanted to get this out of the way. Because I do not know if I'll be seeing a new film this week, but I do have an advanced screening for Warrior coming up soon, so that should be fun. Anyway, Fright Night is actually a remake of the 1985 cult classic, which I've seen bits and pieces of, but I've never seen the whole thing. And I know the original a lot of people love. The original is very campy. It's kind of like a horror comedy, and Fright Night kind of takes the same story and same tone, very comedic and not really taking itself too seriously. This new version of the film, it is about a kid named Charlie Brewster, played by Anton Yelchin from Alpha Dog, and Charlie Bartlett. He lives in this like Las Vegas suburb where it's kind of isolated from everybody else. And his new neighbor moves in, Jerry, played by Colin Farrell, and he starts to become suspicious about him. And he actually notices and is aware of him being a vampire. Basically about him trying to get his family and the people around him to believe him, and they do not believe him, so he enlists the help of a magician that had had a past with vampires before, named Peter Vincent, played by David Tennant. And it's basically about Charlie trying to get rid of Jerry and kill Jerry before he kills him and his family. Fright Night, I was hearing a lot of good things going in, especially because it's a remake, and horror remakes usually get really bad reviews. But wouldn't you know it, Fright Night is actually a good horror remake. The first thing I really liked about Fright Night is I thought the performances all around were pretty solid. I thought that Charlie, or Anton Yelchin, was pretty good. He was likable as a main character. His character is kind of, in the beginning, you don't really like him that much because he kind of left all of his real friends to become popular, or to hang out with the douchey guys even though he doesn't want to, and you know, he has a hot girlfriend and all that stuff, so he kind of left all that stuff behind just to become popular. But then he actually kind of redeems himself because he actually realizes the mistakes and calls himself a dick and stuff, so that was kind of nice. Colin Farrell as the vampire Jerry was very intimidating. I thought he could have shown a little bit more personality. I know that was kind of the character where it was enough personality to be funny and cool but still be menacing, but he just seemed a little bit too dry almost, like he didn't put enough charisma in it, but I still thought he was fine, and he was pretty frightening in some parts. Also, the film manages to bring in some good suspense. The movie never really scared me or really frightened me by the title, but there was some parts where Charlie's trying to sneak on Jerry and goes into his house and tries to spy on him, and there's some tension and some really good suspense in those scenes. The film, it uses 3D very well in the sense that it's very gimmicky, and some people may hate that, but I like that kind of 3D. That's actually my favorite type of 3D. And I also liked it in this film because it is a remake of 80s cult classic kind of cheesy film, and this film itself is kind of cheesy. I kind of grew up a lot of years ago watching, you know, Friday the 13th Part 3 3D, and it's kind of an homage to, you know, Joss 3D and all that stuff, and all the 3D horror movies of the 80s. And since I kind of grew up as a kid watching those, it was kind of a nice homage to those. So I thought that some people may not like the gimmicky 3D, but whether it was an intentional, you know, homage to the 80s films or not, I still thought it worked pretty well. Probably what I like best about the film is that there are some twists and turns that you do not see, which kind of made the film more interesting. There was a couple more where I was like, oh, that's cool, they brought that character back, or they bring in a backstory to this particular character, and you didn't think it was going to go this way. So I like that it was pretty unpredictable at some points, and I thought that's, you know, kind of rare to see in a horror film nowadays. But there is a lot of things that prevent Fright Night from being a fantastic horror remake, and probably one of the best ones, like a lot of people are saying. One is that I thought it was very overly long. The movie's about 2 hours, and it really could have been cut down by like 20 minutes. There's a lot of setup in the beginning about Charlie, sneaking on Jerry and trying to find stuff out about him. And there's like 2 scenes where he sneaks into his house and tries to find stuff, and it just got kind of repetitive. I'm like, okay, we need to move it along here. You're showing me the same stuff over and over again. I'm getting kind of bored. The film has been hyping itself up a lot because David Tennant is Peter Vincent, which was kind of a big role in the original, and David Tennant, Doctor Who, they were getting him for this role, and he had a lot of hype on him going in. I didn't think he was that funny, and I thought it was very disappointing. He's not in the film that much. He's in there near the end, but the scenes where he was trying to be funny to me they didn't work. And that's kind of one of the bigger flaws of the film, is that the film tries to be funny, and it doesn't take itself too seriously, which is a plus, just like the original. It has the same tone as the original from what I saw, but I don't think I laughed once. I maybe smiled once or twice, but I never thought it was funny really at all. There's a couple of funny moments involving Evil Ed, like Christopher Mintz-Plasse, but nothing laugh out loud funny. At some points they really failed, and it left kind of like an awkward tension between the audience. Fright Night is a fun film. I had fun with it. It's not a great horror movie. It's a good horror remake because most of them are terrible. If I had to give it a rating, I'd probably give it a strong 3 out of 5. If it's like one of those films where, if besides the 3D is good, that would be the reason to see it in the theater, get the full experience. But it's like the perfect movie if your friends were going to see it and they invited you and you were like, okay, I'll tag along. It's like the perfect movie for that. But if you don't care for 3D that much, then it's probably a very good rental. That's my review of Fright Night, and see you guys next time for another movie review.